And my attitude was, well, just watch what we do and let's see what happens.
Hello, today we have Al Levine here from the University of Washington. Hello, Al.
Yes, see my hat? Hi, Jeff.
So this fall you'll be leading another development studio. First, help us
Right.
understand the purpose of the studio and then a couple of the other past projects and what they've done.
Yeah, so the main purpose is part of the Nehemiah Initiative, which is a initiative that one of the profs in the class, Donald King, has helped organize with Black churches in the central area of Seattle and actually Columbia City now. And the objective is to figure out how to take the value out of the land a lot of these churches have and use that value to sustain the church and help rebuild the congregations and keep a presence of the Black community in Seattle. When I started at the Housing Authority in the early 70s, a couple of us put together what was then called the Neighborhood Housing Rehab Program with city funding. And the central area at that time was probably 90+% Black. And you couldn't get loans in that area. You couldn't get loans in Mount Baker, in Stevens, which is the east side of Capitol Hill. So it was kind of an anti-redlining program. And depending on your perspective, it worked so well that, you know, these neighborhoods have completely transformed. And now we're faced with displacement and gentrification as the issues, rather than the failure to be able to get money and maintain your homes. So the other part of the studio is a separate project I've got for the real estate students, working with a group I helped put together called Sound Communities. And the mission of Sound Communities is to take advantage of the transit investment we're making, which, depending on whose math you want to use, is somewhere in the neighborhood of $60 billion. And using that money, using that investment to maximize housing opportunities around transit stations. So we'll be studying 3 transit stations: Everett, downtown Everett, the Tacoma Dome station, and a BRT station at South Grady Way and Rainier Avenue in Renton. They're all very different. They've all got great opportunities. And the project will be basically, what can we do from a real estate perspective and public investment and policy perspective to accelerate and catalyze earlier investment in housing at these stations. So instead of taking 20 years to build out, maybe we get it in 10. And that could have a huge impact on our housing situation in the region. Well, Sound Community is the biggest thing. I mean, that's about 10 people who are very motivated, and most of them have a lot more influence than me. And we've been pretty successful. We've gotten a grant from the state. We've gotten a grant from Chase. We had a little startup money from the college. We've had legislation 2 years last year in both houses, and we had hearings, and we're pursuing that again this year. And our idea there is to create what's known as housing benefit districts. So just like Sound Transit was approved with a transit benefit district, it took a vote within a specific geography to impose some new taxes. What we're hoping to do is create legislation that would allow jurisdictions to create housing benefit districts. They would have to be voted on either by the local government or vote of the people, and there'd be some tax authority. That money would be used to make investments in those station areas. It could be infrastructure, parks, community facilities, land acquisition and aggregation, whatever would help catalyze development. Because that's the challenge in a lot of these districts. They're lacking what developers want to see in terms of making an investment. You've got the train, but you need more than that. I mean, take Yesler Terrace, for example, which was my last big project. The first thing we did there was I think it's a 4-acre park, new Central Park. And that's the kind of thing that developers look at and say, okay, you've got a great amenity now. It's worth considering investing around that. We also got the streetcar in there very early. Well, the city did, but we worked very closely with them on the planning and bringing that through Yesler itself. So that's the kind of thing. Once that happens, of course, downtown Seattle is different than Renton, but nevertheless, you can find developers who will invest, but they need to be convinced it's a neighborhood that's on a positive trajectory. And that's what we're trying to do with Sound Communities. I think the evidence in my mind is pretty clear. At High Point in West Seattle, at New Holly in Southeast, I had tons of developers tell me nobody will ever build here. No one will ever buy a house here. You're rebuilding public housing. It's not going to work. And my attitude was, well, just watch what we do and let's see what happens. And it's worked beautifully. And but I think because we led with amenities, whether it was libraries, community facilities, parks and recreation, new infrastructure, you have to make the investment to get developers to move in. After the student work is done, Sound Communities is going to hire a consultant to then work through what the financial tools can be to move this forward. But first, we're trying to get to proof of concept. The new dean is very engaged in both the Nehemiah Initiative and has been a supporter of Sound Communities. So we're doing projects that hopefully advance the vision she has for the college, which is to become, I think, more relevant in the local community and looked at more as a place to go to for help and assistance. I've always felt, particularly the real estate program, should be very connected. And we are through the mentors and through the advisory board, but as much as possible, projects and things. And what's nice about these projects, in both cases, Sound Communities and Nehemiah, the students will be working with real clients and real interests. One case, local governments who are all doing a lot of planning around these station areas and are actually thrilled that the students can be doing this analysis for them. And in the Nehemiah, 3 churches that are very excited about figuring out what are the opportunities on their property.
Great. Well, I'm personally looking forward to the studio class this fall and being a part of it. And finally, if anyone wants to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
Oh, you can find me easily on LinkedIn, or all my emails have my contact info. Or I believe I'm still on the UW website.
All right. Well, thanks for putting off your traveling at least another year and sticking around in the South.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on with us today.
No problem. I'll see you in a week or so.